Construction costs have gone up exponentially over the years, and on an average about 3% each year. And of course, during the pandemic, it's gone up even more. Now it seems that more and more people are warming up to the idea of modular construction, as it seems to be the best way to handle the more than 5.1 million Americans that can't find an affordable housing option. So today we're going to be taking a closer look at modular construction to see if that could be possibly the solution to the affordability crisis, and how some of these current building methods are changing the way we think about housing altogether. And it's freaking awesome. The concept of modular building has been around forever. There was actually even a company called Diaxiom.
Using a model, the inventor shows how circular design makes the best use of floor space. Using new war-developed lightweight metals and prefabrication of parts by mass production,
which was going to solve the affordability crisis back in the 40s. And it was a roundhouse, super innovative for its time. And they had solved the issue with construction costs in the time they're being built because they were building them in a factory. That concept has not really changed, except for we don't make roundhouses. The United States saw the most amount of modular homes after World War II. That's when about 10% of housing throughout the country was made modularly. They were trying to get as many people in affordable housing as possible because they had a big giant baby boom. And that's where the term baby boomers come from. And that's why you see a lot of older movies with a bunch of smaller homes that are kind of all the same. They're all little boxes. So what is modular construction today? It's basically where you take a house and all the components that belong in a house and you make them all in a factory. Then those pieces, those blocks are brought to a site and those modular pieces are put together. So each room is made individually and then they tie them all together just like Legos. Now this is different than what you see when you think of a manufactured or mobile home. Those are usually two pieces with the outside of the home already put together. With modular homes, generally they're just the inside walls, the interior walls, and then once it gets to site, then the exterior is put on. What's so great about modular construction is that you don't have the time constraints that you normally do. Construction time is cut nearly half, and everything is done in an environmentally controlled area, which is a benefit to anyone that is working at one of those modular home factories because they don't have weather delays. And anybody who's seen construction sites, there's always people standing around waiting for some instructions from the general contractor to be able to know what they're supposed to be doing next. When you build modular homes, everybody has their own specific job that they need to do, and they do the same job over and over and over again. Think of it like a factory where people build cars. There's always that one person that puts in all the rivets in a car. It's the same idea when it comes to modular construction of homes. So as the years go on and we continue to have an affordability crisis that's happened long before the pandemic, we're going to be seeing lots and lots of more modular homes throughout the country, as long as we have one thing that happens, and that's clearing up the red tape. So it doesn't matter where you live in the United States, there's always going to be a planning and zoning development area. And within that group of people, they have a perception of, that's a misperception of what modular construction looks like. And so it's hard to change people's minds. The second thing is that we're going to have to work with people on the zoning. So you can look at some zoning and planning and development groups, and they will say you can have traditional types of construction, but they will not allow for modular construction. Or they'll say it's zoned residential, but not for modular. The bureaucracy of everything when it comes to construction is one of the hardest things that causes the most problems. But there has been some changes that the current administration has put into place that they're hoping that they'll change some of their zoning and opening up more land throughout the United States for things like modular construction. But I still think that one of the biggest hurdles is going to be public perception of what a modular home is. And many cases, if you go to even some of the lots around here and you see a modular home, you don't even know it's modular because it still kind of looks like that manufactured home. But it can be done. If you go to places like Japan or Norwegian companies, modular construction is just construction. They don't even think it as a separate entity. That's just how they build things. And to prove how fast it can get done, do you remember at the beginning of the pandemic when they were so desperate for hospital spaces and they didn't have enough room in the hospital? So they built a hospital in less than a week and they were able to fill it with all the equipment and everything they needed. That's because they did it with modular construction. So that's why I know it can be done here. And if you look at the ones that the Norwegians have made, they're beautiful, modern homes. I would love to see more of those here in the South because they're absolutely stunning. If anybody knows of a modular home company that builds them to that modern style here in the South, please let me know. I have people that are asking about them. And if you happen to be one of those companies, I'd love to interview you because of the fact that so many people ask me about homes that look more modern, that Norwegian style that people are looking for when it comes to modular homes. But you want a modular home right now and you want to know who the best is. If you go to the website NAHB, they actually have an awards for who does the best modular homes. And they actually even have like different distinctions. If you look on their website, it literally says the winner for the 2021 Modular Home of the Year is the Skyline Champion Corporation with the Wellfleet. And who would have even thought that was an actual modular home? Not me. Another winner was the Signature Building Systems, the Montauk Custom Vacation Homes for homes that are over 3,000 square feet. The winner was Hudson Valley Home Source LLC, and it's a farmhouse in the woods. And for the houses that are over 4,000 square feet, which I still wouldn't think was very affordable, but still something to be noted by. The winner was Custom Luxury West Hampton Homes. That house is humongous. I want that house. But if you look at all of these houses, not one of them looks like what your perception of what a modular home is. All of those pieces were made in a factory and brought to that site to make a house. And you can have a beautiful home that doesn't look like a box. We've come a long way, baby. What was that commercial for? I think it was for cigarettes. Oops. Because the idea of modular homes has made a comeback, even some homes from the 1950s are being re-erected. If you look at this, the Kwikset house known as the Eames Modular House, the house was named for the company commissioned by the Eames design in 1951. The goal was to have something that could be easily made for a low cost, was still high quality and aesthetically pleasant. Images in the model of the home feature massive windows and curved ceiling and a sense of proportions. They're going to be continuing to bring back some of these older designs so that way you have that like mid-century modern, but they're going to be in a more realistic way for 2022, 2023, and hopefully in the future, because I love mid-century modern, and it'd be cool if they could bring some of these designs. Even in this article, it says it could be intended for design for an affordable home to find its mark. It remains to be seen, but it's hard not to look at these models and think, yeah, I could live there. Yeah, I could totally live there. I love them. And it's not just single family dwellings that are considering modular home construction. There are even some places in Idaho that are going to be doing modular construction. And the robot-built housing units will be rolling off the assembly in the Canton County for delivery in Boise on site. So I'm thinking that in the future, we're going to be seeing a lot more modular home construction for apartment buildings as well, because it is so easy just to make one individual unit and put them in together, one right after another, stacking them right on top, just like Legos. Now, another company I've been talking about that makes modular homes on a very small scale is called Boxable. And they make those 300 square foot boxes, and they're only like a 1-bedroom apartment basically. And it has everything you need in that one specific box. They're just under $50,000. Now, I remember there was like this rumor saying that Elon Musk was living in one of those, but I found out that's been debunked. He literally said in a tweet, he says, I live in a 50,000 square foot box type home, but it doesn't happen to be this specific one. So I don't know if he's like skating around the truth or if he's actually living in a Boxable. And Boxable seems to like to flirt with that idea. But while researching Boxable recently, I also came across another company called Blockable. Blockable makes modular homes as well. They also do things like make modular apartment buildings. So there's more and more of these companies that are popping up throughout the country that are making more modular homes, because I think that these people are visionaries. Now that we see more of these modular home companies popping across the country, we're also going to see a lot of failures. There was a company that came out that had a lot of promises called Ktera, and they were supposed to be the solution, a one-stop shop for any kind of construction when it came to the home. So you could do everything, all the planning at this one specific modular home site, and they were going to build it there. Well, they got in over their head, and once the pandemic started, it put all of their plans to a screeching halt. I know that happens to a lot lot of businesses, but this was a multi-billion-dollar business that folded. Construction is unpredictable, and nobody could have predicted a pandemic. I had really a lot of high hopes for that specific company. I know a lot of investors did as well, but it doesn't look like that one is going to be coming back anytime soon. They are finito. In the meantime, there are many reputable, well-standing modular home companies. Just know that right now, when it comes to building a modular home, it's going to take a little bit longer than typical because of the fact they've had an increase of interest in modular homes. Not only that, they just still have the same building constraints with building materials coming in due to labor shortages and supply chain issues that, I mean, it's just unavoidable. Every construction site has that. So instead of getting your house in 5 months, it's probably going to take you about 12. But that's not true of all modular companies. I just wanted to let you know ahead of time. So now that we've seen all these cool things that are coming out, we have homes that look like little boxes that could stack together. We've seen modular homes from Norwegian companies. We've seen a couple that came from Japan, and we've seen ones that look like more traditional homes that have won awards recently here in the United States. Out of all of those, which ones would you pick for your specific area? Not only that, I want to know, would you consider modular construction? And do you think this is going to be the thing that changes and helps with the affordability crisis? Let me know in the comments section below. My name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer, and I tell you all this because good real estate information matters, and the future is modular.